We live in a world surrounded by negativity.
Life is hard. It doesn't matter who you are, how you look, or where you're from. Life will find a way to humble you. So give me just over 8 minutes of your time to give you 3 major ways to feel excited about simply living. Hannah Alder wrote a piece titled 90% of suffering is self-inflicted. The world is in better shape than ever before. Infant mortality, illiteracy, and poverty are constantly declining worldwide. So why do we still suffer? Why do people in the most developed, safe, and prosperous countries feel existential dread? Mainly because they choose to. Unconsciously or not, people shape their environment and thoughts to sustain their built-in desire for suffering. Because suffering is how we progress, it's literally wired in us. So get comfy, grab your snacks, and get ready to break this innate curse. Spoiler alert, the last one actually explains how people like you way more than you think. Hi, my name is Lucky. I'm trying to become the #1 Lucky Psychology account on YouTube, so subscribe to me if you like this video. I want to start this with a little thought experiment, so close your eyes. Like, really close your eyes. Now imagine you're somewhere in the world far from anywhere you've ever been to. Maybe Australia, Dubai, the Arctic. And imagine you've lived there your whole life. Everything around you is just regular. Your day-to-day life is how it's always been growing up there. Really try to understand how it would feel to be a local. Now open your eyes while keeping the same perspective and look around. Start noticing things around your room or out the window that you're grateful for. Your life's pretty sweet, right? Not too bad. Everything feels a bit more special now, even though literally nothing changed from 2 minutes ago aside from your perspective. And this is because of something called mindfulness. Yes, I just tricked you into a mini meditation. You're welcome.
Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it is called the present.
Mindfulness is the key to unlocking the next 2 tools I'm going to share in this video. It's described as the practice of paying attention to our thoughts, feelings, body sensations, all on purpose without judgment. You can practice mindfulness any place, anytime, because it's literally just intently looking at things around you, feeling the air hit your skin and your feet on the ground, or even just all the sensations that come with breathing. Of course, full-on meditation is the most effective. I know this sounds like some hippy-dippy baloney.
What a bunch of hippy-dippy baloney.
But I got a reputable source, so hear me out. The APA, American Psychology Association, states that incorporating mindfulness into one's life results in stress reduction, reduced rumination. Rumination is just an unhealthy thought pattern where you dwell on negative feelings, past mistakes, or worries without finding a solution. Mindfulness even improves working memory, which is just a fancier version of short-term memory. And it doesn't take much to feel these improvements. Even just 10 minutes once is enough to feel the effects. I don't have a good transition to the next tool, so I'm just gonna start it bluntly. People don't care about you. I know that sounds harsh, but it's a good thing. Hear me out. We have this habit of thinking that we're the most important people in the world. Most people grow out of it, but a bit of that feeling is always lingering. That feeling that somebody noticed that you had to awkwardly turn around when you were going the wrong direction, or that you stuttered when talking in front of a group. Well, in reality, you're probably the only one that still remembers those moments. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Let's talk about the main one.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
The spotlight effect is a prominent social psychology phenomenon defined as a person's tendency to overestimate the extent others notice, evaluate, and remember about their appearance and behavior. This phenomenon is actually way more common than you might think, because almost everybody experiences it. And weirdly enough, it made me think about the term sonder, which is the profound realization that everybody's living a life that's just as complex and unique as your own. But when you imagine this through the lens of the spotlight effect, you realize that everybody, while yes, is leading a complex life, most are, however, worried about every move that they make, thinking that somebody's gonna judge them, which ironically leaves nobody to be the judger. As I was writing this script, I probably felt like a philosopher. Now I'm realizing this is kind of hard to follow along with. One way to get out of this unhealthy habit, the spotlight effect, is through compassion. Compassion for yourself and others. Realizing that when somebody else makes a mistake that you're just as human and have probably made a similar mistake yourself. And compassion for yourself when you make a mistake. Because most of the spotlight effect happens all inside your own head. Because what you're assuming others are judging you for is actually what you're judging about yourself. And if somebody actually does, by chance, witness you do something embarrassing and care to think about it more than once, if you're compassionate enough to yourself, you're just gonna assume that they're also compassionate, and in their head they're thinking, yeah, I'm just as human, everybody makes that type of mistake. Even if it's a little funny. Overall, just lift that shame off your back and remember that nobody really cares to judge and critique every little intricacy of your life, except of course yourself. Because the reality of it is, everybody actually enjoys your company way more than you think, whether that be friends, families, or strangers you only meet once. Hey, that was a better transition than the first. Like the video. And now what I believe is the third biggest proponent to self-inflicted suffering. Since we already went through focusing on the bad in life, feeling judged by others, the last one's a little bit of both, and it's that deep-seated feeling of loneliness. Because for some, it doesn't matter how many people are around them, they still feel alone. And while it's not the only reason that this happens, a big factor is the belief that everybody secretly dislikes them, even though majority of the time it's a false assumption. Between how much a person thinks a conversation partner likes them and how much that partner actually likes them, because people consistently underestimate how much their company was enjoyed by others. You know, when you really liked an interaction with someone, whether it felt productive, deep, or just lighthearted and fun, and you walk around thinking, wow, that was really fun, and then you get the feeling that they didn't enjoy the interaction as much as you did. Maybe you talk too much and you're annoying, maybe they think you're just a weirdo with odd interests, or maybe your hair just looked bad. Well, for one, you're wrong whether your hair looked bad or not. The other person more than likely enjoyed your company way more than you think. And two, that false belief is weirdly normal, so you're not alone. They are probably thinking it too. And if you still don't believe me, there's tests to prove it. The liking gap was originally studied by social psychologists led by Erica Boothby and colleagues by pairing unacquainted people or strangers together, having them converse for a set time, and then secretly surveying them both on how much they liked each other versus how much they thought the other person liked them. Scientists also tested this phenomenon outside of the lab in public spaces like How to Talk to Strangers workshops, and among incoming first-year college roommates tracked over the entire academic year, and the results stayed consistent. People's private scores for how much they liked the other person was significantly, not just a little bit, significantly higher than the other person thought that they liked their company. Follow-up studies indicated that the gap happens because people are too busy self-critiquing their own performance to notice the subtle signs of approval from the other person. Shout out the liking gap. Well, not shout out, but never mind. So yeah, people truly enjoy your company way more than you assume. Next time you're beating yourself up because you didn't notice you had a stain on your shirt till the end of the day, remember that nobody likely cared or even really noticed, and that it doesn't change the fact that they actually enjoyed your company way more than you might assume. The stain is of course a reference to any self-doubt you had throughout the day, which could straight up be a stain still. The reason I wanted to explain this last one in a decent bit of depth is that, like I said in the beginning, most suffering is caused by one's own internal thoughts and beliefs. We neglect noticing all the good things in life as it becomes normal. We tear ourselves down to the point where we're hyper focusing on all the little things that we do out of fear that somebody else is judging us. And through that process, we make up stories that even the people that love us most in our life don't actually enjoy our company. I know you probably clicked on this video looking for some profound life advice by the end of it, and I feel like I'm letting you down because all I can think of is some simple, overused quotes that don't feel profound enough. Enjoy the little things in life, appreciate your loved ones, and know that you're doing better than you think. But maybe the fact that those 3 sentences feel overused is profound enough in itself. You're doing amazing. Have a good one.